Okay. Yeah, so the topic that I'm going to be talking about today is a debate that we had in class, and the debate was entitled, Has Gender Equality Come a Long Way? And my argument would be that yes, gender equality has come a long way in our society and that we've made lots of progress. So during this video, I'll be providing examples from The Myth of Individualism, the Clashing Views book, and personal examples that I've experienced in my life. So I'll start off by talking about some of my personal examples. Here at Weber State, I have both women and men professors, and I look at them both the exact same way. I look at them both as having authority and that they have experience and they're both very well educated, and I don't look at them in a different way. So I have the same exact respect for my women professors as I do for my male professors as well. And here in the Clashing Views book, there are many examples and surveys of how society has come a long way with gender equality. For example, here it says, many surveys suggest that men from all rungs on the economic and social ladder were open to the partnership of equals that is often assumed to thrive most in white-collar and upper middle class families where both spouses earn substantial incomes. So we can see here by these many surveys that the book talks about that there's many men that have no problem with their spouses coming home with income as well. They have no problem with that. As well, here's another example from the Clashing Views book. It says, one survey question, for instance, asked men to rate how comfortable they would be in a series of potential life experiences. Responding to those questions, 85% of white men and 82% of minority men said they would be comfortable with a wife or partner who worked outside the home. 74% of white men and 71% of minority men said that they would be comfortable having a woman as a boss, and 77% of white men and 75% of minority men said they would be comfortable with a partner spouse who earned more than they did. So these surveys demonstrate that men really don't care if women work, and they're fine with it, and they support them if that's what they want to do. And back in the day, that it didn't seem to be like that, so I would say that our society has come a long way. My last example from Clashing Views of Social Issues says this. It says, white and minority men also mostly converge in the qualities that they said they would prize in a daughter, though in each case those qualities diverge in revealing ways from their priorities in a spouse or partner. In thinking about a daughter, both white and minority men put top priority on intelligence, 78% among whites, 87% among non-whites, independence, 66 white, 65 minority, and strength, 47 white, 49 minority. White men put greater emphasis on principled, 40% versus 20% for minorities, while minorities put relatively more stress on sweet, 26% for minorities versus 16% for whites. So as we can see, as these qualities mentioned by fathers, a lot of these attributes would help a lot in a working environment. So we can see that men would support their daughters or their wives in a working environment because these are the attributes and qualities that they admire in women. Now, the Myth of Individualism book. So my first quote from this book is a quote by C.S. Lewis. It's found in the Conformity and Disobedience chapter. And this is what C.S. Lewis says. Authority exercised with humility and obedience accepted with delight are the very lines along which our spirits live. So as we can see, when authority is exercised with humility and when people obey it, it really doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man. If you're doing it with humility and people want to follow you, then it doesn't matter what gender you are. And then my last quote from this book is found on page 143. Okay. So in this, the author is giving a childhood example of the movie Tarzan, how his sisters didn't like the movie because it seemed sexist towards women. But this is what, it's like stereotypical is what he says, how Tarzan is like the male who saves the woman and the woman is helpless and can't help herself. But this is what he says that his sisters turned out to be when they grew up. He says, my sisters all turned out to be strong, independent women with professional careers. They are no more like Jane than my brothers and I are like Tarzan. So this is just a good example of how our society has come a long way, that women don't give in to those stereotypical ideas of they have to be like helpless like Jane. So those were all of my examples of how gender equality has come a long way in our society.